The Florida Horse Podcast is presented by the Florida Thoroughbred Breeders and Owners Association.
Welcome to the Florida Horse Podcast, brought to you by the Florida Thoroughbred Breeders and Owners Association, here in the Kaplan Media Studios in the horse capital of the world. I'm joined today by Brent and Crystal Fernung with Journeyman Stud, and we're here to talk about their wonderful stallions. How are you guys today?
I'm good. How are
Doing
you?
great.
Very, very good. So, Brent, let's get right into it. You've had some top stallions for many years, and I think Koch now has the record for the most consecutive Stallion of the Year awards of any stallions in FTBOA history. So, very exciting. You want to talk about Koch a bit and what he brings to the breeders?
Right. Well, Koch was a star right from the start. His first crop started racing in 2019, and that year he was a leading two-year-old sire in Florida. And every year since then, he's been the leading general sire in Florida. So it is an impressive statistic. We had, of course, success in the past with Wildcat Air, which I think he might have actually been 5 out of 6 years or 5 out of 7 was a leading sire. But to be able to just reel him off the way Koch has is an indication of just how successful he is. Frankly, you can get 2-year-olds stake winners by him. He's got 2 of those already this year. You can get older horses that will sprint. They'll run long, 1.25 miles on the grass like me and Mr. C, incredibly fast like our Harper Rose, graded stake winners like Foggy Night. It's been a tremendous year. I think he's at about $5.5 million right now in earnings. And will probably, if I was to guess, he will be well north of $6 million by the end of the year.
Yeah, he's really well on track for sure. I mean, he's really been dynamic. Is there anything else you want to add about Koch that you think that breeders should know? Because he's obviously had success. I mean, you can track that success.
Well, with Koch, he's such a unique horse for Florida. I mean, I think right now it's difficult to be able to compare other stallions currently standing with babies racing in Florida to him, because he's just dominated the scene so thoroughly. He's got a big crop of 2-year-olds this year. He's had 12 maiden special weight winners, 11 of them, I think, at Gulfstream and 1 at Belmont Park. And, as he goes along, he just seems to keep getting better. He's got big crops coming behind these 2. I suspect that he's going to be leading sire in Florida for quite some time to come. In the sales ring, I did some research after the OBS October yearling sale. Koch had 19 offered, and I think 15 out of the 19 found new homes, which is really good.
Yeah.
A percentage of 75-80% sold. They averaged over 30,000, and when you compare him to any horse standing in Florida that had 3 or more horses go through that sales ring, he was the leading sire by average.
So what are some of the mares that you feel really cross well with Koch? Is there a particular pedigree that works well, or you just see because he's so versatile?
I've never been around a stallion that is so loaded up with different sire lines that he works really well with. First thing we noticed was how exceptionally well suited he was to Stormcat line mares. Several stake winners out of Stormy Atlantic mares, including Liam's Lucky Charm and Foggy Night, the greatest stake winner he has this year. So that's been a given right along. And then, interestingly enough, he's out of Delta Princess, who's by AP Indy. And if you really look at the cross, when you inbreed to AP Indy with him, he's exceptional like that as well. That's why Hot Peppers came from that cross.
Hot Peppers, we love Hot Peppers.
Yeah, and Background, another graded stake winner. And then, of course, recently his full brother Squints won a stake couple
Another
weeks
one we
ago.
love, Squints. The names are amazing, but the horses are equally amazing.
Yeah. So, these horses have, that sire line has really demonstrated that inbreeding works, which I've never been a huge proponent of it, but you can breed congrats mares, Sons of AP Indy, the Corinthian mares. It's amazing how many of them works for him. And then on top of that, the other day I saw where somebody asked me to nick a mare by Yes It's True to him.
I was wondering if you were going to remember
Yeah, he has 5 babies that have been uh, born out of Yes It's True mares, 2 stake winners, 1 grade 3 stakes placed horse, and then 2 of them that are unraced. So that's has all the earmarks of an exceptional cross as well.
Yeah, precocious 2-year-olds run short and long. You've got the versatility when you come to looking at the pedigree.
I would just add that he physically matches pretty much with a wide variety of mares.
True.
And his stud fee will be for 2024?
6,500.
6,500. Okay. And our next horse we'll talk about then is Uncle Chuck.
Yeah.
Uncle Chuck.
Uncle Chuck's a neat horse. He's currently in Argentina where he's finishing up his second consecutive Southern Hemisphere breeding season. He bred 133 mares his first year at stud here in the United States. Then he went to South America and bred another 140. So if he doesn't make it, it won't be because he hadn't had the opportunity.
Definitely prolific, yeah.
Yeah, he gets a lot of mares in foal. He's a big, handsome horse, 17 hands tall. Beautiful pedigrees by Uncle Mo. He's out of Forest Music, who was a grade 2 stake winner by Unbridled Song. He's a half-brother to McLean's Music, who's already a highly sought-after, proven sire, and he's a half-brother to 2 graded stake winners as well. Besides that, you can just talk all the pedigrees you want, but if they can't run, I'm not sure that makes any difference. Well, this horse could really run.
Yeah.
He broke his maiden by 7 lengths first time out as a 3-year-old, running 1 mile and a 16th. He came back 3 weeks later and won the Los Alamitos Derby by 5 lengths over 1,000 words, and just missed a track record belonged to Shared Belief by a 1/5 of a second. In his second lifetime start, he's running 1 mile and an 1/8 and 48 and change. It was that's an impressive race record.
Yeah, and I noticed that when you look at the stallions that you stand, you always are able to talk about those performances. And sometimes it might not have been a grade 1 company, but definitely a performance that stands out or like that, a tick off the track record and facing the horses that they face. So I think that that goes into your decision making of finding good stallions that you can bring here to stand in Florida, but they have a performance record to support where you think they're going to go with that season.
I call that brilliance. I love brilliance in a stallion.
Yeah.
If he stallion prospect, if they could, there's a lot of horses that might grind out $1 million for you over 5 years, that were nice race horses. But when you go to checking them out, it's a limited number of them that really move their babies up. You get a horse like Kozan or Uncle Chuck, who had that immense talent. Now you got to be able to procure them, and that's an issue because usually those horses, if they go on and have a long career, they're going to be a grade 1 stake winner. They're going to be standing in Kentucky. They're going to have a price tag on them that I can't afford to breed to, let alone purchase the horse. So we're always on the lookout for a horse that was precocious, showed that they had an extraordinary amount of talent, and then they got to have enough pedigree to make it work as well.
Yeah.
And when you put that combination together, you got a legitimate shot of having a sire. In Uncle Chuck's case, he did all that in a short amount of time. He was brought down here, with the idea in mind that he was going to be, a sought-after stallion, and he has been up to this stage of his career. His first babies are weanlings. We're running an ad, give Wire to Wire a little plug right here. We're going to be running a new ad with some pictures of his babies. We're excited about the ones that we've got pictures of. I'd urge anybody watching this podcast that has a baby by Uncle Chuck that they're proud of to send us a copy of the photograph. You might be,
or I'll come out and take the picture.
yeah,
No.
yeah, because it's the word of mouth on him is huge. People are talking about how nice the babies are.
Yeah, and I don't think people realize that word of mouth, because as soon as you start seeing foals on the ground, people do talk about those foals, and the word on the street, if you will, is that Uncle Chuck is throwing some nice ones out there. And so to see some of them in the upcoming ad, and then also, like you said, some folks post some of those out, you can see some of the get that he's going to have, and then maybe look to book him for the next year.
Yeah, he's an exciting horse. He's got a big future in front of him. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't go off and do exactly the same thing that Kozan did, just dominate the competition.
Yeah, that's great. So we've got 4 out there. Who do we want to talk about next?
St. Patrick's
St.
Day.
Patrick's Day, okay?
Yeah, his first cropper 2-year-olds. He's leading first crop sire in Florida. He's had a couple stake horses now. He had Jive, who was third in the Dr. Fager Stakes. He recently had a huge maiden special weight winner at Gulfstream, a filly by the name of Fiona's Magic, which was
She's one to
bred by
watch.
our partners on both these stallions. And I'd be amiss if I didn't expand on this a little bit. St. Patrick's Day and Kozan, on both stallions' case, we were able to do the kind of job we've done with them because of our relationship with Stonehenge Farm. The late Gil Campbell was a big supporter of ours, and we were was able to, breed some really nice horses together with him, breeding the Kozan. And now they get this filly Fiona's Magic that's by St. Patrick's Day, and
Mrs.
she,
Campbell's very excited about her.
yeah, they're
Marilyn?
yeah.
I can imagine. I know that they've been great partners for many, many years, and they've been really, bastions in the industry where they have really showcased what it is to put your efforts behind a horse, a stand a stallion, work with people that are great with standing stallions, and then have some of the success with these champions that come along with that.
Right, and Fiona's Magic is an indication of what they're going in the future. She's making her second career start. She was hooked a field of open fillies, like the couple into Mischiefs, City of Light, an Omaha Beach. It was quite a pedigree line. She dominated, win by 7. She ran 3/4 of a mile in 10 and 2.
It was impressive. I mean, I thought immediately, you put them into another league when you see them perform like that. You say you have high hopes, but now it's like I have some really, really big aspirations for that horse.
Yeah, that horse it checked a lot of boxes right there at that one start.
Yeah, for sure. So St. Patrick's Day, you want to talk a little bit about St. Patrick's Day pedigree, and then
Sure.
also what else?
It's an easy one to talk about. He's a full brother to American Pharaohs, so there's not very many full brothers to Triple Crown winners out there. And besides American Pharaoh, there's was it Chasing Yesterday, a Grade 1 winner as well. St. Patrick's Day, Bob Baffert told me he was cut out to be a really, really good horse. He got injured in his second start when he broke his maiden at Del Mar, beat Instilled Regard in that race. But he missed the rest of his 2-year-old season, which would have been the time of the year that he would have developed into a Kentucky quality stallion, I believe. Coolmore owned him at that point. They gave a legitimate amount of money for him as a baby when he was a weanling, privately, I believe. And they then took him to Ireland and raced him as a 3-year-old. He was Group 3 placed there and win a nice race over there, beat a lot of Group 1 winners and Group placed horses. So, his pedigree outshines his race record, obviously, but he'd had been a hell of a horse for his pedigree to match up to his race record.
Yeah, for sure. He's a great looking horse too.
Beautiful, as pretty a horse as I've ever been around.
Yeah, he's magnificent to see and look at. I can't wait till we get the new pictures of them that we're going to be shooting. So that'll be exciting to see how he looks. So I like to see how the stallions change over the years.
Yeah.
How they grow and mature. So anything else you want to add about St. Patrick's Day?
Like I said, his first crop are 2-year-olds. I think they're going to get better as they get older. Like I said, Fiona's Magic's been one that I know that the Stonehenge group had been looking forward to getting her back there and letting her finally unleash, and she did it. We're looking forward to him stretching out, running around 2 turns. After all, he is full brother to Triple Crown winner, so that shouldn't be a big limitation for him. So
Yes,
I think he's
it covers
got a
every
bright
distance
future.
with that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Even that Test of Champions, 1.5 miles. So
Right.
you have horses that can do that. They obviously would have stamina, you hope, at 1 and a 1.25 miles. So yeah, it's really exciting, I think, coming off of her amazing performance. So we've got one more stallion to talk about, and then anything else you want to add? Do you want to mention the stud fee for Uncle Chuck that we covered and St. Patrick's Day?
Of course, that's a little detail we missed. Uncle Chuck's stud fee is $6,500 again this year, and St. Patrick's Day standing for $3,500 this year as well.
Great. And who's our 4th horse we've got?
Chance it is Florida's horse. I mean, he came down there, he dominated 2 out of the 3 Florida sire stake races as a 2-year-old, and he was a really good 2-year-old. He'd stretch it out and run a mile and a 16th. Chance's first start of the year was the Macho Man Stakes, a 1-turn mile, I believe. He won it and was poised to make his next start in, the prep. After prepping in that race, his next start was going to be the Holy Bull. And then got injured, so he didn't really get an opportunity to go through his 3-year-old year as quick as he did. He came back the next year, though, and got to become Grade 1 stakes placed. And I think if he'd had a longer opportunity, obviously he was good enough for us to win graded stakes just about anywhere. Sprinting, he was probably a little bit better than he was going around 2 turns, but that didn't stop him from running around 2 turns. He's a son of Currency Swap, who was a really good 2-year-old, precocious 2-year-old to win the Hopeful, Grade 1 winner. The female family suggests speed and stamina as well, and his ownership group, Mary Leitner and Lisa Gooden, they have really gone out of their way to try to make this horse, successful.
Went out and purchased some really nice mares.
Correct. And they also hustled up. They have a lot of friends in this business, and because they're just such nice people and a lot of their friends supported the horse, he's got a good crop of first crop of babies are weanlings now.
They've been sending us a lot of pictures.
Yeah, nothing but great reports.
I know when Mary was in here and we talked to her a little bit about Chance It last year, one of the things that she had mentioned is they were bringing in some mares of their own and really, believed in him. And he was very exciting because he actually created, I think, 5 or 6 new fans that day at minimum in our bus trip group at that time. And it was interesting to see because she also was nervous because she says, I had such great success with him. That's awesome, but sometimes that doesn't happen again. And so she was worried about the next horse that she had with the group, but she's had great success with the horses, and Chance It is one that people dream of winning the sire stakes. So to have an owners group that many of them were new to the business, to have Chance It be that winner for them is really exciting. And then to almost sweep it, and then to be at Stud Now right here in Ocala, where they can go and see the horse and know what he's doing at Stud is really exciting for that owner group.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing, the Florida Sire Stakes, the kind of group of people it brings together. You've seen over the years Fred Bry and Gil Campbell and Stonehenge and Arundel Farm and Mary Leitner. These people, they really want to win those races. That's what they aim for. That's one of the great things about the Florida thoroughbred industry is we have that series of races down there that you can just, grab a hold of it and point to it and work with it. It's a great deal.
Well, thank you for coming in. Do you want to, before we end, do you want to mention the stud fee for St. Patrick's Day?
St. Patrick's Day is $3,500.
$35. That's what you mentioned.
Chance It's $2,000.
Thank you guys for coming in today, and let's look forward to our breeding season.
Yes, let's get going.
The Florida Horse Podcast is presented by the Florida Thoroughbred Breeders and Owners Association.